To those tuning in, we say hello. This is Hot Mike on the Line. Hot Mike is a show directed to support those in corrections, law enforcement, and first responders, and our families. Remember, all the hosts and guests may speak of certain subjects about their line. This show does not represent any department in any way.
It is solely our opinion.
Warning, this show contains explicit content that may not be suitable for the easily offended, the faint-hearted, the intolerant of bad words, the individuals who are looking to get upset, and the triggered.
I'm talking to you, Karen.
If you believe that you're about to listen to material that you may find objectionable, offensive, distasteful, or unpleasant, please tune out now.
Are you still listening?
Hot Mic is real talk, and we are
Live.
So kick off your boots, grab yourself a drink, and stand by.
Stand by. Through it.
We are here. Today is May 28th, 2025. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing good, Ariel. How are you?
I'm doing well. Um, Just anxious to get this show on the road. There's trying to figure out how we're gonna word
Hmm.
and play around with certain information
Okay,
in regards
okay.
to the show. Before we get started, Danny, do you have anything to share prior to getting?
Well, I think I would be what's the word? I can't remember how to phrase it. Um, we had originally planned to do this show yesterday,
Yeah,
or the day before even. I think we even talked about the day before. Oh, the day before.
yeah.
You weren't feeling good. You had the bubble guts.
I did have the bubble guts. I went on a 1 week bender. Um, Now I remember why I quit drinking beer.
Why do they call it a bender?
Because you bend over.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you ran around like Seinfeld said, you run around bending things.
No, I'm pretty sure you bend over at some point, start throwing up, or
Oh, okay,
other
okay.
nasty things. You want to be a nasty girl? Who knows?
On a bender. So my whole point of that before we went into your bender
Yeah.
was that 2 days ago, like I said, it would be what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Uh-huh.
Anyways, I would feel bad. I would feel guilty not mentioning that yes, 2 days ago when we had this show planned was Memorial Day. So I want to make sure we take the opportunity to say thank you to all those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And that I hope everybody uh, and their families, besides the barbecues and the swim parties and whatever happened, took the time, even 5, 10 minutes, to make sure that you acknowledge why we have that day. So I took the time to share a story with my daughter.
Mm.
Um, I saw a Facebook post from one of my high school football and wrestling coaches. Also, he coached my brother in football as well. Um, Coach Ray Burns, born and raised there in the Moreno Valley area. And I looked at his post that he made, and he put remembering the fallen, and he put a list of people, and the first two guys were class of 1968 Moreno Valley High School. So I looked at that and I was kind of like, wait a minute, my coach went to Moreno Valley High School, which is interesting in itself, right? Grew up in Moreno Valley all through school, graduates from Moreno Valley High School where I graduated from, goes to the Army, goes to Vietnam, stays in the National Guard, comes back to Moreno Valley, becomes a football coach, wrestling coach, eventually the athletic director, right? So he's dedicated to this school. And so I saw that, that he was honoring those two guys amongst a list of other names. And so I asked him, I was like, Coach, did those first two guys on that list, did you guys graduated together? And then he said, yeah, we did. And then I said, so you guys graduated from high school, you joined the army, you left to Vietnam, and those two individuals were killed in action. And he said, yeah. And I was like, wow, that I couldn't wrap my head around it, you know.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, so I was like, so you guys were friends? And he said, yeah. He said, me and Mike, which was the first one that he listed. He said, me and Mike, we grew up on Eucalyptus Avenue together. So I sat my daughter down and I explained that to her. I told her, you know, that there's over the course of the years, um, you know, depending on when you were born or whatever, you graduate from high school, what do you have to look forward to? Maybe college, maybe you play sports, maybe you have a job lined up, all these different things. I had a military commitment to look forward to, very casual, what I call a casual military career in the Marines, peacetime Marine, the whole time that I was in. And I told her, and you have guys like this who graduated from high school, and what did they have to look forward to? Vietnam. And then I explained to her how it was a very unpopular war, and these guys came
Yeah.
back and they were called baby killers and spit on, and they weren't respected and all that. So I said, so on top of going over there and potentially getting killed, um, you come back to a country that didn't even give a crap about you, you know. So so I told her just to be thankful that there was people that, for whatever the reason is that you joined the military, at some point in your life, there's a saying that you signed a blank check saying up to and including my life for the country, or for at least the people next to you, you know. So so yeah, so I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that. It was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we don't like to say happy Memorial Day. We just say, you know, I hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day. Don't forget why we do it.
Yeah. And it should be more than one day. So I know there's an argument that, oh, so and so has a month, these other people have other days, yada yada. Um, but I feel like as a nation, we've recently started coming together more than ever, and patriotically, we've are able to express. I don't know. For some reason, it seems like a lot of people are expressing themselves a little more as patriots, and we do acknowledge myself never serving our country in that way. Very, very thankful for those that uh, served, continue to serve, and ultimately, you know, those that gave their life for our freedoms. And it's interesting how you say how your daughter, you told her the story. Well, with my son, he's started to ask a lot of questions. Why Memorial Day? Why Christmas? Why Jesus? Why this? Why that? And I'm like, dude, he's getting a little deep for me sometimes,
Yeah,
and he's curious, of course, who is not? Who is not at that age of 11 and then very soon is going to be a teenager. So how do you prepare yourself as a parent? Like, hey, this is why. This is why we enjoy these freedoms. This is why you're able to play any sport. This is why you can go on and do college or do any type of career in anything that you want, because of people who continue to sacrifice essentially their freedom to give us some freedom, right? Give us a lot of freedom.
right.
My the person who I consider my daughter, she's in the Air Force, and of course, communication's a little slimmer. She's doing her thing, and we're very proud of her, extremely proud of her.
Mm,
And me not being able to show much affection to anything or anybody, she knows that, I think, um, but I remember her calling me during this last election. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I get to vote for the first time. And not to get political, but she was just more excited to the fact that, hey, we feel if this certain individual wins, we might not go to war or it'd be more peaceful. Whether that's going to happen, I don't know. That's neither here or there. But yes, Memorial Day was just this past weekend. We hope here at Hot Mic on the line. You guys got to enjoy spending some time with your family and your loved ones. And because those that did not, I know I have a couple buddies, including yourself, who took the time this past weekend to go and visit certain memorial sites
Yeah.
from those men and women who served. So thank you guys. Um,
Yeah.
there's
So what are we gonna talk about today, man?
man,
Besides
there's so
them.
much to cover today. I know people are at the edge of their seats. What are they gonna say? Let's talk about some fucking fake news. First of all, bro, let's get down to it, down and dirty. Some fake news up in here. Shit. Um, so here in the Imperial Valley, there's this article that started going around social media in regards to a certain institution that's going to close. And that article was a little misleading if you didn't pay attention because it immediately set off a fire.
I was gonna say it was alarming to say the least.
Yes,
Yeah.
it set off a little fire. You know, people immediately started posting things. Oh my God, we're gonna close. And the one I'm referring to is Calipatria State Prison, the prison that we work in. Hey, what do you guys know? For some reason, people think that we're in the know. And sometimes we are, most of the times we're not. But we do our research. We ask certain individuals, those who are willing to share and talk. Um, Most of all, we like to use our common sense. You more than me, that's for sure. I like
In
to.
I concur.
But this article pretty much says that Representative Raul Diaz,
Or he's a congressman, right?
I
I
don't
think he's
know,
a congressman.
I'm reading it right here. It
He's a
says
politician.
a
That's what he
politician, Democrat from California. He sent a letter to Governor Newsom, right? Uh, Pretty much pleading, please don't close Calipatria State Prison. If you close this prison, it's going to be devastating to our community. Um, Quote unquote, hundreds of good paying jobs for families in the region. And added that the employment rate is already high
I think it's
here in
the
the Imperial
highest
Valley,
in I think it's the highest
in the state.
in the state.
Yeah,
It might even be I- I'd I'd be
yeah,
I'd be inclined to say it's got to be one of the top top 5, maybe top 10 in the nation
yeah.
unemployment rate here. Cuz what does it say, 16% or something like that?
I don't know the percentage.
Okay.
Yeah. But he does continue to say this is an all hands on deck movement to really impress upon the governor how devastating this closure will be. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to keep this prison open. So he did continue, to state that he's going to be in contact with Newsom, kind of monitor the situation. Yes, you are correct. Right here, it continues to say that it is a 16% as of 2025. That's going to rise even higher. So let's talk about this letter, right? I don't know the political motives for this person. Um,
Well,
I've have
so let's talk about initial reaction, right?
Yes,
Because like you said, right away you text me and my phone starts blowing up. Um and and I told several people the same thing that I told you. I was like, well, hold up, right? So I was of two schools of thought. I thought to myself, this guy um could be just preemptively, hey, I know you're going to close a prison.
yeah,
Please don't let it be Calipat. That was
yes,
my first thought. And then but then, the Debbie Downer in me was like, well, maybe this guy knows something we don't know. So the doubt starts creeping in, but then I kind of shake it off and I'm like, nah, and then and I think everybody was kind of in between those two.
yeah. And there's a certain page I follow. You're probably on it as well. It has some employees, and this is that type of page where if you're gonna sell something or if you need a swap or whatever it is, something local, right? Like you need a babysitter or something. It's like a community oriented type of page, but for employees at Calipat. Boom, that article went off, and everybody, just it's a legit panic.
Yeah.
It's a legit panic, right? Um, and some of the things that us, especially me, we think blindly. We start kind of raging a little bit. Like, dude, this is some bullshit. They're gonna fucking close Calipat. Is it? Employs so many employees, easily 2,000 employees, about 2,000, maybe. Maybe I'm. It's a little higher, a little lower, but I think,
At the very least 2,000, I
yeah.
would say.
Now think about how many people will be affected, right? So you start thinking for those people, yourself. I started becoming a little bit selfish in that aspect because I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know, what am I gonna do? I still have about 8.5 years ago. What the fuck am I gonna do?
Hmm.
You know, I still have to provide. I have my son who I have to you know uh get extra aid for his needs.
Hmm.
And then I start thinking like, wait a minute, there's a lot of us like that. There's a lot of us that have kids that have certain needs, and because of these type of high paying jobs, or good paying jobs,
Right.
however you want to do, or however you want to, handle your career, we do that for the love of our families. We do that for the love of whatever it is, and our kids, whether they have needs or not, they're able to succeed in sports, in school, in any education in life. A lot of them, they go on and they do great things.
Hmm.
They go on to college, and who the fuck is paying college? We are.
Right.
Unless they get some sort of partial scholarship or a scholarship, who the fuck is paying? We are. So I start thinking all that, and then I think I start attacking the union, our union, straight up. Why? Because during the recall, our union decided to fight the recall as well, right?
Mhm.
Think about the union. We pay 15 dollars a month or whatever it is.
Probably 115, 120, somewhere around there.
Think about how many employees we have. It's millions of dollars. It's a lot of fucking money, right? And during the recall process, what does the union do? Give a couple mil to fight the recall. And now look at what's happened since. Certain pay cuts. We were promised money, and we got that money for a little bit. And I've always wondered, like, personally, right? Like, you don't have to think the way I think. You can agree to disagree. I'm speaking on my behalf. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this percentage of pay. My pay is gonna go slightly higher.
Hmm.
Cool. But what else happens? I'm gonna get taxed the fuck out of it. But on the contrary, what's gonna happen? Gas is gonna go up, food is gonna go up, the cost of living is gonna go up, water is gonna go up, light's gonna go up. So I just sold my soul for fucking pennies. That's the way I saw it. You
Hmm.
could agree or not agree. Whoever's listening, you could find me on it, whatever. This is my peanut head, my peanut brain thinking about that. So I brought it up to a very respectful union member. Like, well, you're gonna get money in your pocket, blah blah, this and that. Like, you know what? Fuck that money. Fuck that money. The cost of living is gonna go higher. Fuck that money. I'd rather live a little cheaper than get paid peanuts, because I'm not the best mathematician, but at the end of the day, I feel like I'm gonna save money if shit's cheaper, right?
Right.
And how's it gonna be cheaper? By getting dude out, right? So fast forward, we're here now, fighting for closures. Prisons have closed. We've seen the closure of Chuckawalla State Prison. We've absorbed a certain amount of those employees. A lot of them got the opportunity to move on. Um, but let's talk about their displacement. Let's talk about their displacement. Their displacement. A lot of them got the opportunity to say, you know what, I want to go here, and I have the seniority for it.
Hmm.
So what does that do, Danny?
Well, I mean, it starts everything runs off of seniority. So, um, those that have it are usually in pretty good shape because
Yeah.
they're able to bump other people. I'm not sure exactly how that process worked. It was more familiar to me when Chuckawalla was closing
Yeah.
because I shared that office uh with the high ranking union individual who knew all the ins and outs of it and broke it down to me. This is what's going to happen. And that was the first panic because people thought, all right, if somebody from Chuckawalla has more time than me, and they can't go across the road to Ironwood, they're gonna come over and bump me. And where am I gonna go, right? So
Yeah.
I had a better grasp of it back then, but that's basically how it works. Whoever has more time can go and bump people in other institutions as long as usually it's within the same county. Um, and so, and then after that, I mean, the people at the low end of the spectrum, you know, you could potentially face like a layoff being, I think there was even a handful of people who kind of saw the writing on the wall
Mm-hmm.
and were like, you know what, like I've only got 3 4 years in, like fuck it, I'm gonna bounce.
Yeah.
And they quit and went and got other jobs. They
And
weren't gonna wait to see where the chips fell. There was others who a buddy of ours, right, that was over there who waited and thought the chips were going to fall in his favor, and he missed it by one position, and he was a local from Blythe, and he missed it by one spot. So the two guys in front of him were able to get positions across the road.
yeah.
He thought, surely one more will fall in my favor. It didn't, and he was going to be forced to either uproot his family and move to a completely different county and start from scratch, or commute from Blythe to Calapat, which that road has claimed
Many lives.
many lives.
It's a dangerous road.
Yes.
It's a very dangerous road.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just it turns the displacement of staff turns people's lives upside down, you know.
Now, I never worked recruitment. I think it'd be nice, but I think I'm not too pretty for that. But um, have you ever done any type of recruitment job or assisted a recruiter, in a career fair or something like that?
I've done some recruitment in my time,
Yeah.
in my heyday.
And what I can think of recruitment, just because I've seen it in colleges, I've seen it uh, at the local fair, right? When a legit recruiter is there, right? Because we have people they get some people get selected to do recruitment. It feels like, let's say you're a 21-year-old kid, 20, whatever the age is. You see college is not going your way. Uh, Tired of working a Jack in the Box, long hours just to provide. Maybe you've got some kids already. It is
Hmm.
Imperial Valley. We do start early. Um, Fact check me on that, but we do have a high pregnancy rate. Um, Imagine you being that kid. You're listening to this officer who's all decked out in a Class A uniform with where you don't even realize that those stripes what they mean, but
Right.
it just looks beautiful. The shiny shoes, the good talk, the clean shaven face, the respectful appearance, and they give you this information. And you're like, oh shit, can I work here? Oh, absolutely, man. Like, we need people here. Nobody wants to work at Calipat. Nobody wants to work at RJD. Nobody wants to work at these prisons, right? Boom. So you get recruited and you're promised a career, right? Now you go on and you quit your job whether it's Jack in a Box, sales, whatever it is. You quit construction. Here you can make good money in construction. You could make good money working for the irrigation district. Maybe you quit that job. Maybe you were a teacher and you're like, you know what? I'm fucking tired of making 60,000 a year, which is a shame, by the way,
Right.
as a
I
fucking
agree.
teacher. It's a fucking shame, especially here in the state. Um, so you decide, you know what? Correction sounds good. Get time off with swaps and all that. You explain to that young buck, hey, you can do this, you can do that. You could take some time off. Um, so you leave whatever you do, go to the academy. You go through the hurdles of the academy. Hmm, not so much anymore, right? Um, as one academy instructor told me not too long ago, bro, all we need is this live breathing flesh,
Like count.
like count, like count. I'm like, damn, that bad? Yeah, that bad. Everything's softened up. But whatever. You fucking get recruited. And if you're listening and you're an officer or whatever you are in your line of work, uh, and you go through a certain academy course or whatever it is, and you graduate, right? You sacrifice a lot already. I don't care how old you are. You sacrifice a lot. You're giving this a gamble. Boom, you get sent to wherever you get sent. Maybe it's a place where you want to be, or eventually you end up at that place where you want to be.
Hmm.
And now you have your job, whether it's the job of your dreams, but it could be the job of your dreams if you make it to be. And all of a sudden, you get told that, hey man, you might have to move hundreds of miles away. You got to pick right now. And you're thinking 3, 4, 5 years in, 10 years in, 15 years in the department, maybe more. What the fuck? I'm established here. I bought a home already.
Hmm.
I've got my kids in sports. My wife works here. My wife is a stay-at-home mom and she has a structure or whatever. My husband works over here and our schedules are work very, very well because of this job. Um, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna quit, take a financial hit, or are you gonna go ahead and try to move and make a strain in your life in relationships, not just with your family, with your wife, your husband, your kids, but your parents, your grandparents, your whoever you got close to you, because a lot of these communities are very close, especially communities like in the Imperial Valley, Blythe, very close. Where we're the redheaded stepchild to Sacramento, because I fucking heard it firsthand. Oh yeah, we don't have those services because you guys are in the desert, whatever.
Hmm.
So we tend to lean on each other. Now that's gonna go away. Now that goes away. So what can we do? Can that person say, fuck you, department? I'm gonna fucking file a lawsuit because you told me that I can go to a place where nobody wants to work and get paid a little extra money. And then I established myself there and I've been there for X amount of years. And now you want me to move or find another job or whatever the situation may be.
Hmm.
When is the department liable? I don't give a fuck that the state's broke. That's not our fault that they can't manage billions of dollars. We're the richest state in the fucking world, bro. The richest state in the world, Craig. We generate a lot of money, yet we spend a lot more,
Right.
right? And we can get go deep and say, oh, it's because of this, or it's because of that. Uh, Mismanagement is the main thing. So what do you do in a business? You start getting rid of motherfuckers. Don't get rid of us. Get rid of the top, bro. File lawsuits because people, and I've seen it, excuse me, I've heard it from people who, gosh, I don't know anybody here in the Pearl Valley. I live in Arizona. I don't know anybody in the Imperial Valley. I live in La Quinta. Whatever the situation may be. And now they got to commute and risk their fucking lives in shady roads, commuting an hour plus back and forth. Like one guy's got to commute fucking 4 hours.
Yeah.
And speedy recoveries to you, my brother, for sure, because he already experienced
Yeah. He
a wreck.
already wrecked and almost died.
So speedy recovery to him. But when is the state liable? Where is that fine line? Excuse that little fine print, not fine line, that fine print when you get recruited that says you may be subject to uh to be moved around, because I remember that in the academy. Hey, there might be some closures. No. What did it say? We need bodies. We need you. We need you. We want you. No. They decide to gut us.
Yeah. It's definitely a tough pill to swallow, a bitter pill to swallow. Um, so my reaction compared to yours, I don't know. I guess you still have a lot of fire in your belly. I was I just like I laughed, honestly. I was like, how fitting, the I'm in my twilight years, and my last 2 years here.
Danny,
They're gonna close this fucking place. That's for me.
Danny,
I was just like,
I'm not even talking about Calipat,
yeah.
man. I'm
I'm
not
just
talking
talking
about,
about the whole
I'm
situation in
talking about
general.
the whole situation. I'm talking about Chakawala. I'm talking about the next of six unnamed prisons. One
That
of
could
six unnamed
one of
prisons
which could potentially.
that could potentially close. I hear today, oh, it might be Tehachapi. Like, I'm like, Tehachapi? That don't make sense. I'm like, fuck, people want to be there. Why would you close a place that want to be there?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, they just stopped all of IDL. They're gonna close Tehachapi. I heard that shit today. The fuck? Well, why would they stop IDL? That's crazy, right? First of all, um, what's the other one? Oh, they're just gonna eliminate a certain amount of sergeants. I think one sergeant and four cops per institution to save money.
Mm.
So, oh, okay, so this is money you're trying to save.
Yeah, I think by what that article said was $1.76 billion would be saved by closing a prison.
You want to save money? I got some shit for you, Danny. You want to save money? Don't look at closing the prisons. Don't. You want to save money? Governor, tune in. You,
Are you about to go Doge right now?
I'm about to fucking get fired, bro. You want to save money? Show us the receipts, state of California, for the food that was spent during the pandemic in San Quentin on inmates, excuse me, incarcerated population, whatever the fuck that is, uh, IPs. Show us the receipts because I know firsthand from good people that when they couldn't cook for themselves over there, there was a bid that went out to feed these people. And if you don't remember our show about the pandemic, go back to it. You can check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Podcast. We go deep on uh, COVID and certain spendings that the state did, to include what I'm going to reiterate right now. That prison, they had so many sick inmates that they couldn't really cook
They
for
couldn't run the
themselves.
prison.
They couldn't run it. So what happened? They send out a bid. Oh, who's gonna win the bid to cook for these dudes? Not from the outside, catering, whatever it is. Who wins it? The governor's cousin wins it at fucking $40 a meal. Show me the receipts. Show me the receipts for the pop-up quarantine housings that were never used, such as CMC. Correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's at CMC, but there was pop-up housing, it's kind of like tent like, that was costing millions of dollars a month to run. Not a single body for, I want to say, approximately 2 years. Not a single body. Brand new equipment, air purifiers, beds, yada yada. And that's, again, good intel that I got. How much did the state pay to fly in members of CCPOA from all over the state into Sacramento for 3 days to talk about what type of logo should we create for CDCR? How much did that cost? To talk about a fucking logo that's going to be friendly to the public? Yeah, you better drink, Danny.
Sips tea.
And this is firsthand information from union members that were sent out there. Oh, yeah, we got flown out. Cool. Let's talk about our round trip flight from San Diego to Sacramento. Let's talk about maybe $160. I'm being generous. $220, maybe, right?
Yeah, I'd say about that. Three,
Round trip.
call it $300.
Let's talk about every night that you stay there. That's 2 nights, max 3 days, because you fly back the next day. $110 a night. What's the state rate?
Sacramento's 165, I think.
Excuse me?
165, $150
A night.
a night.
So by two, that's another 300 plus tax and parking. That's about $400. You're already at $600. Let's talk about your overtime. You go out there, you do your training, you come back. That's about 6 hours to come back, 4 hours to come back, whatever it is after your training. That's a lot of money, man. Multiply that by 15, 20 bodies. That's a lot of fucking money. Talk about some stupid logo, man. That could have been something that could have been done online, emails, what's that stupid shit?
Teams.
Teams. That stupid shit. I always turn it off. So let's talk about San Quentin. And there's a lot of good people in San Quentin. Well, I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about the upgrades that are happening in San Quentin. The new facilities are being built in San Quentin.
Mm-hmm.
There is millions of dollars, billions, right? Millions of dollars being spent on these facilities. Why? Why? We're shutting down yards that are with toilets that are able to fucking be flushed, with lighting, with security, with employees
that are operational.
Thank you. Operational. Why are we building that and you're shutting yards? It's mismanagement.
It's very contradictory.
You're a dictory.
It would be like yeah, I'm super broke. But I got a guy coming over tomorrow to give me an estimate on a pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stopped watering my grass in the front to save a little bit of money. But check out the blueprints for my barn dominium I'm gonna build.
Oh my God, Barney Mini would be cool. You want to talk about the mansion that was not good?
It's super rundown. It's got termites and whatnot. All right, so what else you got? I think you had said something about something. Go back to that article.
Oh, the article.
Desert Review put out an updated version. Well, it's very similar.
Yeah.
But I think what ended up happening, I think the consensus on that was that
To circle back, we're circling back
to
right
circle
now.
back, the consensus on that article was that this guy, and I don't know who this guy is, this Diaz guy. I don't know who he is, but apparently he's got a history of doing these sort of things.
Yeah.
So that because like I said initially, I'm like, maybe he knows something we don't know. Maybe he's just being preemptive. Hey, kudos to you, buddy. Like, but now the now the that it's been out for a while, now it's starting to be like, oh no, this is the kind of thing that this guy does, because then he'll, when X doesn't happen,
Yeah. Oh,
he's
the closure
like
of Calipat did not happen.
he's like, must have been my letter,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, for me.
So I'm gonna start doing that, I think, from now on. I'm gonna, next time I get on a plane, when we land, I'm gonna stand up and tell everybody on the plane, like, I told pilot on the way in, make sure we get there safely. Boom, this one's on me, everybody. You guys can thank me later. Don't forget to vote. You know? Let's start doing that. Yeah, just walk in and be like, hey, pilot, get us there safely. Please. And then when we land, I'll be like, yeah, I did that.
So I know some people are still trying to figure out what the fuck is going on because of my rant, but
You
when
went on a good rant.
yeah, I'm sorry about that, Danny, but
All right, man.
when yeah, when this article is printed, Reese said, "Hey, please don't close this prison. It's going to affect our little community. We have a little ecosystem financially, and it's going to just kill that. And it's going to increase our unemployment rate of 16% to even higher. It's going to cause a domino effect, yada, 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 yada." Saying all that, from what Danny just said, writing this letter, not knowing that it's factual that Calipal was going to close. It was just throwing a rock in the pond and see if you fucking hits water, whatever, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever analogy you want to use. But um,
I
to
think,
put people at ease, we don't see it closing. We've been hearing with our ear on the ground that no Sentinella Calipet is safe as far as closing, not working behind the
right.
walls. But that's another,
It's a different story.
it's a different story.
But yeah, they I mean, and honestly, man, like, again, and I'm jaded. Call it what you want. Um, Nothing surprises me
Yeah,
these days. Absolutely nothing. You hear, that our name came up, and there's those people that
wait,
believe that
mine and
there's
your name?
no, our the institution.
Oh, fuck. Let's say not again.
Well, I mean, after tonight, who knows? But yeah, they mentioned, Calipatria because of this article, and a couple other social media sources put it out there as well. And you try to calm people down, and you have people that are saying right away, no, we're not on the list. But then you have other people who can, there's a saying for everything, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of truth to every rumor. Are
Yeah.
we one of those six? I don't know. Maybe we aren't. Maybe we are. But there's just, it goes back to what I said a long time ago. Um, Nothing surprises me. If somebody would have told me a few years back that I would be seeing some of the things that I've seen in the last couple of years happen in the prison system, I would have laughed. But now they've all become a reality. So could it happen? Maybe. Will it happen? I don't know. What I do know is, and not to say, oh, the his letter was, there was a lot of truth in it. And like you said, it would devastate an
Hmm.
already a community that's already, I feel like, hanging by a thread. So I reached out to a couple people from the Blythe area, and maybe it's too early to tell whether or not there's been an economic or socio-economic impact on that area. Let's face it, Blythe is not, it's not a sprawling metropolis, right? Already. So, because like I asked my buddy, I'm like, did any like stores close, or was there any like, have you seen anything since the closure of Chuckawalla? And he's like, no, not really, man. He's like, we got a lot of fucking abandoned buildings as it is. It's Blythe, bro. He's like, those buildings were abandoned they've been abandoned for years, some of them decades. He's like, but who knows? We and essentially what what I think saved them was the fact that the prison that was right next door was able to absorb the majority of those
Yeah.
people. That's what saved them. So um that makes me a little bit worried about here because somebody might somebody somewhere making decisions might be like, all right, they're fine, they'll be able to absorb. But anybody who knows anything about these two institutions out here is that we're pretty well staffed. So it would be, I don't know, I don't know. But anyways, I'm talking about the effects. So um, the effects to the community would definitely now, a big difference between our institution and the one that closed over there in Blythe is that Chuckawalla was long considered a what they call a commuter prison.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, there was a lot of people from Blythe, but and somebody in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, but the vast majority were doing double single, right? So 16 hours, and then an 8-hour shift for those who don't know what that means. And then going and spending 4 days back home, wherever they were at, 2 hours, 3 hours, like you said, driving out, right? So when when that institution closed and people were displaced or decided to quit or decided to go wherever they're gonna go, um, they didn't necessarily live there in that community. And I don't feel like that's the same situation here. Like there was a time when a lot of people were commuting. I started commuting, right? When I first started working for the first 3 years, I commuted from Indio. And
And
I
what's the commute like?
that was like an hour and 10 minutes on a good day.
So let's talk about your commute because this is going to apply to a lot of people all over the state. A lot of people we know that these prisons, for the most part, are in areas that are not pleasant, right? And it's built that way for some reason. Um, so a lot of people have to commute because we get a lot of messages. Hey, this is your show is helping me with my commute. I'll listen to half of the show on the way up and half of the way on the way back. And I'm thinking like, fuck. Or sometimes our shows can go an hour and a half, 2 hours. How long are these commutes,
Yeah.
right? So let's say a typical day you work, and I know that these commuters, for the most part, third watch meaning 2 to 10, but it don't matter. Let's say you work third watch. At what time are you already thinking, fuck, I gotta start getting ready to go to work? You're talking about like 9 in the morning, probably.
Well, it just depends.
Because
But
if you're thinking,
for for me,
uh,
well, my experience, you're talking about 21-year-old Danny,
yeah, Jim,
right?
Jim, you
No, no,
no,
no. I
Danny,
got done at
Danny, come on,
I got off
21.
work
You're
at
going to the gym.
21 years old. I got off work at 10 o'clock at night.
Went
I
to a
got on
party.
the van pool.
Huh?
Okay. Sometimes on the van pool, uh, we would get thirsty. There's got to be a statute of limitations on this. So it's like, this is 1998, right? So we would get a little thirsty. Maybe we had a rough night on the Yarda,
Uh-huh.
right? So we would stop at the little gas station there
Get a
and
little
we would
calm me
get some
down drink.
refreshments
Yeah.
on the way home in the van pool. We would arrive an hour and 10 minutes later, an hour later. By the time I got home, shit, shower, shave, I was at the club right at freaking at peak time. Yes, that was the music right there. So then till the break of dawn, and then wake up at I don't know 11:30.
In the morning,
Yes, 10
bro.
o'clock,
It's late
11:30.
as fuck.
Throw together some whack ass lunch or buy something at Carl's Jr. and then be at the pickup point at 12:30, 12:45, and on the road back to Calapat. So if I was displaced right now, it would be very difficult. If 1998 Danny was displaced, I would be like, fuck it, you know? But the commute, an hour and 10 minutes. That's what we were talking about.
Some people that have their act together, Danny.
People that aren't fucking immature 21-year-old idiots.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like looking back now, right? And you start looking at a lot of these youngsters, you're like, fuck, these fools are young, right? And uh you start thinking like, damn, I didn't know any better either
Yeah.
in certain aspects of the job. Um, and now you're considered a fucking damn, what's the OG uh older sir, senor. You're like, fuck, that shit hurts. That shit hurts, dude. You're like, I'm a senor. No, no, no. My dad's a senor. Like, and now I feel my dad, because it's for him working in the department, uh, eventually, eventually he's like, fuck, I'm the older guy now. And or you're definitely the older guy.
Indeed, I am. Yeah,
But
but
I
I
mean,
think at the end of the day, um, yeah, a looming closure is bad. It sucks.
mhm.
You know, it sucks, and sucks for everybody. And I'm gonna go out on a little limb here.
Okay.
You're just if you don't have nothing good. Remember what your mom said. If you don't have nothing good to say, don't
Don't say
say
nothing at
nothing.
all.
Okay, but as an older now, right? I'm no longer the young 21-year
You're a
old
fucking
punk,
senor now, bro.
right? And I understand all aspects of what we do. You you close an institution. Who else takes root in the surrounding community of a prison? Who else? I'm a Socratic question you. Who else takes up residence and puts down roots in the surrounding area of a prison?
Federal?
No. Think about the primary reason that you have a job.
You're talking about fucking crime and,
No, I'm talking about their families, the incarcerated population's family. You close that prison, they got to pull up stakes too and go to wherever their loved one goes, right?
yeah, but I worked in visiting, bro. There's not a lot of them here. They all
Right?
come from LA. They're all
We're
from
not
LA.
talking. Remember earlier you said we're not just talking about Calipat. We're talking about closures in general.
Oh, I get it.
In general,
Yeah, well, that's why they're not going to close places like Lancaster and RJD, and they're not going to close that.
that's definitely another consideration.
Yeah.
So if someone out there with the power is listening,
Ay, ay, ay. Well,
getting soft in my old age.
you are. You need some
Mhm.
fucking, for your old age, for getting soft, you need a blue pill. You
Not,
need some of that,
not that kind of soft, you idiot.
oh, I was going to say that, honey.
So we're at about we're close to an hour. We said we'd do this for about an hour. Any closing thoughts? Not rants. Closing thoughts.
Well, my closing thoughts with closure and displacement. I think it's a shame. I think that it is disheartening. I think that um, obviously there's a lot of emotion. Uh, it can make people angry. It can make people sad, depressed, and I don't think any of that's being considered. Um, I believe that we we our voice is not heard in these situations when it should be, especially when we're paying millions of dollars to individuals to represent us. And I believe that sometimes we are cheated for a couple bucks. I believe that we sometimes look at how can I say it? When a little kid's taking a picture and they got the little fucking little
like something to like a baby.
A little baby, a baby,
When the
yeah.
baby's trying to take when they're trying to take a picture of a baby,
And they have like this little
and
shiny
they have
mug,
something
yeah,
to right.
yeah, yeah, and that makes it look good for that
They're like,
moment.
mira, mira.
Yeah, or you're still upset, or your stomach, or your shit pants.
Yeah,
That's how I
you were
feel.
crying a second ago, and then all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah,
right.
I feel like that's happening right now. And a lot of people believe that we're limited, like, oh, it is what it is. Nah, fuck
That's
that.
your worst. That's you hate that line.
I fucking hate
You
that.
hate that.
I hate that we say it is what it is in this aspect, or that we're getting fucked, or it is what it is on the line when we're on the line. Oh, I don't like, I don't like this program. Well, it is what it is, or what I fucking hate that.
I
Man.
know.
Thank
I know.
you. But how can we fight? How can we have our voices heard? There's certain platforms, certain individuals that have a bigger following, and I think that they can use that to be factual, to get the right content, to get the right information, and really have a change in any department, not just this department. But a lot of us are afraid. A lot of us depend on this. A lot of us feel that fuck, this is the end. This is all we know. We can't all be content creators. We can't all just pack up and leave. We can't all just fall back on our previous job. What am I going to do in my previous job? Go back to Verizon? You kidding me? Me try to sell a phone with this attitude now? It's not going to happen, bro. You know what I mean? What are you going to go back to, Danny?
Uh,
Probably retirement, but
eating pizza. I don't know.
partying,
Yeah.
going back and fucking being a
Yeah.
rebel. Like,
Hmm.
it's it's a lot of political issues that is beyond our control.
So let me ask not let me ask you. Let me respond to your how do you fight thing, right? So how do you fight? How do you keep people from being apathetic where they're just, well, it is what it is. Like, how would you do that? I mean, it's to me, it's very similar to what I tell people when they're first coming into the department and they're upset with the way programs are running or the way that things are being run and they're
Yeah,
bitching, complaining. And what do we tell those people usually? Hey man, if you don't like the way it is,
get out.
now no idiot. What do we tell them, right? Hey, if you don't like the way the supervisor is, then become part of the solution.
Not
Don't
the
be part of the problem,
problem.
right? And I mean, what other advice can we give people to try to, make sure your voices are heard? So we have a small group of motivated individuals who, you know, might want to get involved in the union for whatever reason. Hopefully, they have our best interests in mind. I mean, that's all really we can hope for because um, a lot of it, a lot of what I've seen. Well, I'll put it to you this way, since I use the analogy of promoting, right? And well, why don't you promote and be part of the nah, right? Nah, right? And then that just goes for 10, 15, 20 years. And now you've been,
I'm at that La Verga age
and
right now too.
now you got officers who were people who were officers that, and don't get me wrong, there's some officers that have been around 25, 30 years that I have a lot of respect for, but there's others that are still fucking complaining, still crying, still, and you know what, bro? You chose to fucking hump trays for 25 years. You
Mhm.
could have promoted and made decisions and made affected change, right? Everything around you that you can touch, you can affect change on. So that would be my advice.
Yeah.
Get to a position where you can, because I think both mindsets are wrong. Where you can be like, oh, it is what it is, and not do shit about it, or a la verga type mentality, and be bitching and moaning and complaining about it, or you can do something about it.
Yeah.
I don't. That's just that's my mindset.
And
That's
what
my
and
soapbox
what can
moment.
we do? One of our listeners here says, "What should we do? Should we do a protest?" We can't, right?
One of our listeners. Who's this guy?
It's like do a protest, get a bunch of tents and
Yeah.
camp outside the institution.
Yeah, that we should bring him back on and ask him, and he can break down how that went last time.
He
Uh,
definitely needs to come back.
yeah, that gosh, what a crazy freaking era that was. And you know
Not
what,
just
dude? To be honest with you, right now it feels like that era, the era of Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor.
you know what's
That
I
was
just had a thought. You know
I'm
what's
having the flashbacks, right?
flashbacks. Um,
Furloughs. Oh, you didn't like those first two? Here, take a third one, bitch.
I know I didn't see a raise for like 5 years, bro. Um,
Man,
but you know we're in a bad situation right now when we can't even have insurance for illegal aliens. They
that's unfortunate.
they the state has decided to. I'm not sure if they're cutting it or lowering it, but there's
All
not.
right, folks, that's all the time we have for now tonight. Oh my gosh. But you know what? Honestly, I think I want to continue to talk to people from other places. I only got a little bit of insight from,
Yeah.
here locally in Blythe, but I wonder what it's like up there in
And you-
Salinas,
Yeah.
Monterey. Right, no, not Salinas. Where was DVI? Tracy.
Tracy.
Tracy. High Desert.
But some of these places, like, okay,
High Desert, where
specifically
the
Chipotle, right?
SEC closed down at, right across the street
Yeah.
from High Desert.
But from what I hear, and maybe this is happening in those places, DVI, SEC, SEC? No,
SCC?
SEC?
No, CCC.
CCC. No, no, no.
No, SCC.
SEC.
Yeah,
One of those,
Stephenville.
right? From what I heard from about Chuckwalla is that, yeah, it's closed, yet they still have like a skeleton crew.
Hmm.
And their job is to continue to flush toilets, check powers, check this, make sure that this place doesn't rot. So, Danny, the fix, one thing I did not talk about during my rant,
Hmm. Rents and raves.
these are facts, bro. These are fucking facts. You want to cut finance, you got to cut certain programs or fix certain programs,
Okay,
such as
I'm listening.
the Suboxone program.
I don't know how expensive that is, but
I know that they have a quota to meet. They have to have 200 inmates per yard on that program in order for them to keep getting the money that they get. Us working on the line, me working on the line, I know some officers can probably say, raise their hand and said, yup, I've heard that too. I've heard it from at least two inmates. ALT, I need you to lock me up, put me in ADSEG. I need to sober up. I'm like, bro, this isn't a fucking rehab like that. Like you just can't go to RHU, ADSEG to go and clean up. You're gonna have to go do something, to get there. This is you are in rehab. You know what I mean?
that's
This
what I was gonna say. If I was that guy, I would have give you a smart ass remark. I would have been like, "This isn't rehab. What's it
yeah,
say on your shoulder?"
yeah, this is and like me being curious and sometimes with these inmates, I'm able to speak to them fairly well. I'm like, well, so you're a druggie. How'd you get into drugs? Stupid question, right? But
An open-ended question.
tells me, well, I've been clean for 10 years. But I went to committee recently or months back, and during my committee, they asked me these questions. Were you a drug user? Were you this? Were you that? Blah blah blah. And yes, I was a drug user prior to me being incarcerated. So somehow I made the criteria to get on Suboxone. He's like, let alone I've been clean for 8+ years. I've never touched that shit. I haven't touched heroin in a long time. Back in Suboxone, what does Suboxone do?
I'm not a scientist.
Give him that little taste, right? His birthday rolls around, right? Birthday rolls around. They give him a little party kit, including that party kit is heroin. He's like, what's a paper? A little shot. Takes a shot. Brought back good memories. Boom, he's hooked. So I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me that you got hooked because you're being fed Suboxone, which is provided by the state? Yeah. Is he lying to me? I don't know. But it fucking made sense. Why are we spending so much fucking money and energy on this? Why are we giving this drug, light dose of drug to wean them off, a
Hmm.
harder drug? Why are we doing that without like a proper assessment? Because from what I've seen, what are these drug and alcohol counselors? Who are they? A lot of them were former
Well,
drug and alcohol
supposedly not
users.
anymore.
Well, I don't know anymore. I've been off of that for a minute, but this is just a story I'm telling you from an inmate, good old precious incarcerated person who was worth $100 and some thousand a year, telling me the story of how he got hooked. And he got hooked
I
by,
told you a hypothetical story.
he told me, this is what happened to him. Another dude told me the same thing about the boxing story, and then he just started using. It wasn't his birthday or nothing. He just started using again after being clean for X amount of years or time. So how much is this costing the state? Why aren't we looking at that cut? Why aren't we looking at cutting that program or gutting that program or figure out a way to get a lot of these dudes off of Suboxone who should be off and not having to meet a certain quota, whether
Hmm.
it's 200 or whatever the number is. I think it depends on the population, but it's it's some bullshit. Because some of these dudes, what happens when you get drugs?
You have to pay for them.
Yeah, it creates an ecosystem of crime inside the institution. I'm not gonna go deep in that because that's gonna be one of our other shows. Dope, shanks, and phones. Um, but I'm just like spitballing as far as cut something else. Don't close institutions. Stop firing people. Don't cut jobs. I'm sorry, but stop the academy for right now. Put a pause in the academy.
You can't do that when they're short staffed at other places or
Why are we short staffed?
everywhere north of the Mississippi. There's about five, maybe 5 or 6 institutions that I think are really short. So I mean, yeah. I wish I had some answers for you, buddy. But I have no answer. I have none. I mean, uh, is there a program that we could cut that would save us a ton of money? But then I always feel like we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. Like you cut a program and then the public outcry will be, hey, my loved one's not being rehabilitated. And then you do something like um, stop the academy, right? And now you have staff at those institutions that are understaffed getting fucking just beat down, right? Held over and
Hmm.
all that. And now they're mad. Hey man, what the hell? Why they asking the union, why can't you guys, what the hell? Why can't we get some freaking bodies over here? Let's get some relief over here. Right? It just feels like always an uphill battle. Always an uphill battle. Um it reminds me of a quote from
Confucius.
Blade, not Confucius.
Oh,
The other great philosopher. Blade, Wesley Snipes.
I was gonna say blade, like the
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
uh, shit. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I mean, we could just go on and on and on and stretch it and dig myself more in a hole. But that's not gonna happen. I know you guys want that. Um, check us out on YouTube. We we're posting these on YouTube, as you can see, the little camera angles or whatever are a little different.
We didn't even ask about that. Huh? What do you guys think of our new digs? What do you think of the new set?
I know. Look, we're not representing nothing. There's no logos. There's no nothing. Like, I hope we can't get in trouble as far as our setting goes.
Oh,
Uh, what? Oh shit! This I should gotta flip that. Um, yeah,
what do you guys think of the new set? Please, on YouTube. Now I can actually finally say like and subscribe.
yeah. Hot mic!
Tell us.
Exclamation on the
Now
line.
you have to do something where I can say, the link is in the description below because I've always wanted to say that. But yeah, tell us in the comments what you think of our new set. We'll appreciate it.
Um, more shows coming soon. We're gonna continue trying to keep it Facebook Live. The previous show was a hit with Angie Lansack. Did I say it right?
AKA Angie um,
The agent,
Ramirez was
her,
Hernandez.
her Hernandez,
Yeah,
her original.
Hernandez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that show. If you guys didn't catch it, it's on YouTube. Um, it's also on Facebook Live with our phone, so it's better on YouTube. By the way, uh, it's got over shit thousands of views. So very popular show. I hope this one. We're gonna have Sergio coming back. Sergio Cardenas, the airman.
Big Sergio,
Big
the
Sergio.
flight nurse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And at some point in the future, at some point, didn't we have a licensed professional, like somebody that was gonna try to figure out what was wrong with your brain at some point? I'd love to have her back on.
No, can't recall.
That's. Where are you at? What were we calling
AK,
her? AK.
AK,
AK, where are you at? If you're listening, we miss you.
AKA
AKA, we miss you. We want to have you
Allison
back on.
Kalamaguri. She's doing her thing. Make sure you guys follow her.
My Therapy Tribe.
Yeah.
My Therapy Tribe all together on Instagram.
I like to say that they like the set. They need more comfy chairs. These chairs are fairly comfortable, by the
Yeah, I
way.
was falling asleep earlier when
Yeah.
you were on your rant.
And what did it say? We need a bottle of liquor between you, like
No,
outro.
no, there is enough.
No, no,
Enough.
wait. If you want to supply us with liquor, I mean, we're not opposed to that. If you think that there should be a liquor bottle in between, buy us one. Supply us with one, because I do
It's
go
a
through a
gift.
bottle. I'm
It
kidding.
has to be a gift, though.
It has to be a gift.
Yes.
We cannot make money because we're gonna be under investigation again. Um, I love cigars, Garduño. Shoot it. Bring one from Mazatlan, from the Cubanos
Ooh,
over there.
let's get him on the show.
Let's get Garduño. No, he's gonna start flipping out and put us under arrest on the show, probably. Nah,
Yeah, he'll be all right. Give him some Jack in the Box tacos. He'll
we're
be
having a
good.
good time out there. Uh, oh shit. Pickett's gonna say he's gonna give us a drink. We need you back in the show, dog. That's what we need. We need you back over here. Talk some shit. Talk about. I follow you, man. I like what you post. You should be like the next, not the Hodge twins, but something like that. More in the middle, though. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this could be your kickoff right here. It could be like your little send off. Go on, spread your wings. Talk some shit to the world, bro.
Oh, you just did a like a fake bird
Yeah.
um, impersonation. I think it's time.
It's time, bro. It's time. All right. Thank you guys for listening in. Hope you guys all have a good night.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Thank you.